to the reversion is to intentionally want to make mock Islam or any of virtues. If someone wants to make fun of the virtues of Islam or try to expose it to harm, this is the reversion from Islam that the scholars talk about. It's controlled by what Allah said. If you ask them, they will say, we used to play and play. You say, with Allah and His signs and proofs and His messenger, you are making fun of. Do not apologize. You have disbelieved after your faith. There is a story. Some of the hypocrites, when the Prophet ﷺ was returned back from battle, they start making jokes. They said, we haven't seen like these reciters, liars, and they are more hungry and they are very coward when they're meeting the enemy. Just like you see all this, the secular media, they always make fun of the reciters of the Quran or the people who teach Arabic or religion as somebody to mock him, and unfortunately they put this in so many generations. So the intentional wanted to mock or make fun of Islam or any its pillars or signs. Allah said about those who claim that they were all just joking with Allah and His messenger and His signs and His proofs. You're making fun. Do not apologize after you have disbelieved, after you have the belief in Allah. Now, if you tell me that you did not intended to make fun of these, you just wonder how could this be combined with this, that's not reversion from Islam. Somebody from the previous civilizations, he saw a woman with her hand a rosary and the other hand she has some makeup. He said, what are these two things, a contradiction? He said, with Allah I have a sign that I do not leave, and I know, and also I'm a woman, like to beautify myself to my husband. So there is no contradictions to be a good woman, good righteous woman, that she is making herself look good for herself and for her husband, and at the same time she is making have a sight for Allah Azza wa Jal. So just be careful, my brother. Another question about zakah. I have the year has passed on my zakah, and someone was promised me that he will give me the price for a car in 2 weeks. I will have the money in 2 weeks. Do I add that to the zakah for this previous year, or do I use it for next year? Then he said, and I intended to buy another house for my personal use with some of that money. Just like I sold that money, I will buy another car, and I put some money so I could buy a car. I did not buy it yet. And that should be in the zakah. And he's saying, and I wanted to pay it, but I just want to know the truth. What is? So is it required the zakah on someone who's middle class, and because of the current situation, he is on basic needs? A lot of people went from middle class to poverty, and now can we spend zakah on them? We'll answer on all these questions in a minute, inshallah. First of all, the car that you have agreed to sell it and receive its money after 2 weeks from the time that your money, the rule in it is different because of the deal with the buyer. If what happened, a promise of buying, it's not so that money should not go in the zakah of this year. You put it on the next year. Why we said we look, because he could use that money, and the expenditures could be done. So it's not there's no zakah on it. The zakah on the money that reach the minimum and it's over a year. It's not on your income. The zakah is not on your income. It's what your savings are, and it's reached that saving is over a year and it's had the minimum. But if you sold it for sure, you already made the contract. It became loan on the guy who's gonna give it to you, and you're hoping that it's coming someone who is capable of paying, because the loans that is capable to come, you add it to the zakah. The loan is zakated loans with the loans. There's two types of loans. One that you expected to be paid, and the other one is impossible. When is it expected to come? If on someone who admit and someone who's capable. But on someone who can't or someone who deny that even took that loan, then it's not. You do it only if the money is in your hand. Second point, what you intend to buy and you haven't bought yet, you do not take it from the zakah. Let's suppose I wanted to make Umrah. I put $3,000 on the side. When the time of Umrah, I will go. As long you did not sell it to the airplanes and reservations, all of this, and he did not receive it from you, so it will be out of your hand, out of your position to his position. Your hand is out of it. This is what you do not put it in the zakah. But the one that you still have possession of for Umrah, whatever reason, as long as under your possession and it's over a year, then you have to pay the zakah. Whether it's by itself it's enough, or it is when you add it to something else become the minimum. The International Fiqh Committee says that the zakah is obligated on the current account, and there's nothing matter on doesn't make any difference with the intention of using it, even for investment, as long as you are trying to sell, unless you are trying to pay some loans. And the zakah is required on anyone who has the minimum and it's reached a year, no matter what's the financial situation or economic situation in the area. And whomever is in the one who middle class to have enough, there is enough. And we have mentioned that different time that it is the zakah is required to make you have enough. And we don't give the poor person until he's about to die. No, you do it so you could enough for him. That's enough, not just to survive. Another question: can the administration of the masjid to give a loan from to a brother who is going through some difficulties, those who are responsible for the money? If someone came to ask for a loan because he is in difficulty and he wants to be easy on the masjid to help him and give him a loan and make it easy for him, is that something accepted or no? Some people said no, because that's mistrust in the money that is trusted on. And some said no problem with it, as long as the person who's is somebody trusted and someone who could guarantee him. The answer is very simple. First of all, the tradition in the masjid to change, different types of money. Some for building the masjid, some for expansion, some for the iftar, some for the needy. That's on all the organized masjid, that they have different boxes. With each one they have different what the money is going through. We're going to. That will stop the contradiction and no crisscrossing or any contradiction. There is something for general funds that could be used for this kind of issues, and doesn't have to be done only in the zakah exposure. The zakah is Allah did not leave it for an angel nor a messenger. He decided himself in the surah, Surah Tawbah, and he put the 8 avenues that you spend the zakah on. Anyway, so those who are in the administration, they have to agree to a policy to do in this situation. Bylaws of that will be known and will be declared as a public record. It will be known and decided ahead of time, and you could be using it for whomever disputes with the masjid. The masjid, people come to it to help them either directly or allow those who are capable from the people who are capable to help. And you look into these emergencies. Sometimes the fatwa different depends on the situation of the masjid, ease or difficulties, and the number and the amount that is required, and also the trust in the person that is asking this loan and power to be able to return it back. The expenditure of the masjid, it is a priority in this situation. If there is extra and they have that money for that part, or the good people to help, they can. And a masjid should not leave someone who is in need, and they are capable of helping them. So people will be an example for people and a place of refuge. So there will be an avenue that people they could go and talk to. Of course, without no contradiction with the needs of the masjid. Another question from the same area. Is it possible for those who are in charge to allow some of the brothers to use some of the tools for the masjid, like the vacuum, the chairs, the tables? And there is a list. Can we use some of the items that belong to the masjid that people can rent them or take them or buy them? Someone don't have vacuum, he asks for the vacuum from the masjid till he take care of himself. Or the masjid, they have a machine that wash the carpet, and this is expensive. And if he rent it will be too much. He said, let me borrow it. I use it and can bring it back. So what is the answer? We tell him, original what is for the masjid stays in the masjid, and the benefits only for the masjid. But there is nothing wrong and the allowing the people of need to use these avenues with the exceptions, because the masjid, people come to it to help them in their needs without going abusing that power. If the masjid needs, he will say, oh, people, I'll do fundraising in the masjid, so he will get the people to do money. And the same thing, if this community needs any help, this one the same. Just what we say, will give us when we need. We also help people whenever they're in need. If they are fair, they will be fair. And Allah knows. A question: what is the rule about buying clothes from any place with the condition that he will wear it and then bring it back? Someone has a wedding, he bought a suit. The next day he returned it back. When he said he had the intention that he will return it back, and that happens sometimes. A woman is about to be wed, She will go to the highest places of wedding. She will something a very expensive dress. She'll go to the wedding and she returns back after that. Most of the time, most of these places in America don't ask why you bring it back. I say the answer to all this. Then you should not have the intention to return something after you buy it because it's contradict what the intended of Allah this policy. Why they allow you return it, whoever wants it, to encourage people to buy. Someone go there and buy or not to buy. But if he knew that he's safe, he could go back and return it back if it's not good, and not ask him why. That policy, people tried it and they put conditions for themselves that whomever took something from us, he have the choice to return it back for a month to it, which is the condition. So they put themselves this condition and they allowed whomever buy something to return it back. If somebody went home, if he didn't like it, he feel bad to go back and return it back. Instead, he said, it's okay, I don't want it. So it's all studies that they will win from this in the long run because they increase the selling and there is no loss to be mentioned. So if it is to encourage people to buy, not so you could use it and bring it back. Allah knows the best. Another question from a woman who's saying, I married my daughter to a righteous person. She got pregnant and she had baby and she's still breastfeeding. I went to see her. She covered her chest. She said, what happened? I'm your mother. Why I don't want to see my grandson when he's breastfed? She said, no, my husband got she said she used to teach you the breastfeeding. It's over. You shouldn't show your breast to your mother. And it is disputed. This is what I choose, that you cover. And she said, since that time this happened, I was shocked. And I kept looking. Is there an opinion that says that? I could not. When discussed, she said, yeah, I know there's a dispute, but I settled to that dispute. So what is the solution? This is like bringing electricity to the place. Sometimes we imagine difficulty and we try to build it a reality. I understand that a person who is jealous asks his wife that she cover her breast during breastfeeding. But let's see, this matter as your son-in-law is disputed among the scholars. And the guard that shows the evidence that a woman do not show the woman except what she shows to her mahram. And the private part from the knee to the belly button is all private part. So it is that a woman should not show the woman except what she shows to her other mahram, what is known to cover in the house. Their fathers or the fathers of their husbands, or their their sons, or their brothers, or uh, their woman. So the woman with the woman doesn't show except what she shows. What is that part? Allah allowed for the woman to show her beauty in front of her husband and others, meaning the iris, like the earrings, the bracelets, the necklace, the ring, and so on. And that's what they happened during the Prophet ﷺ and those who follow them. So what showed to the woman in the house was to uncover the head. It is okay, but not the and they are different. And this is very important point. It's you know the showing the brother and the husband is different than the son of the husband. Someone is married to someone who has a 20-year-old son. Her father will see more than what her son-in-law will see. That's from the nature of the humans. So what it show to the father, what it should not show to the son-in-law. And the scholar says, if there is a doubt and you are afraid of fitna, then you cover from those. If she saw in the eyes of her son-in-law looks with temptation, then she cover in front of him. Because we should cut the reasons of the affliction. So what it looks to me, Wallahu Alam, that your son-in-law has a very strong opinion of what he had mentioned. So don't be mad at him. To cover the breast from the breastfeeding, it is something that should be commended, not denied. May Allah put the harmony in your hearts. Someone's saying a woman gave another woman some money to preserve it, to give it to her son after her death when he wants to get married. So she died, and the other one asked her, is that money inheritance or she used to take that money from his salary and only give him what she needs. So he don't know where she hid it. So what do we do? That's an important one, and it has two different ways. This is the money of the son, and she just preserved it, whether it's in her life or give it to someone to protect it. That's his money. This is not a gift. This is not atiyah. This is not he's to work. He did not get married. This is to retain the money to its owners. So if it is like that, that woman gives that money to his money, who earned it in his life. She preserved it to stop him from overspending it. That's one part. The other one, this is a toy from the Allah gave everybody his right, so there is no will for one who inherits. The one who will turn back his gift, it'll be like the dog who eats his own vomiting. And Abu Bakr, he gave his daughter Aisha 20 wasq of money he had, And then when he's dying, he said, "My daughter, you are most beloved to my sons, and if you take it, it'll be yours. Now it's inheritance." The gift will not accept it except by have possession of it. Can a woman be make marriage between two women, between men and women? This is something from the East. You need to go to the people of the East. But if the answer you saw it, I don't like to make a fatwa on the East because it's easier for them to note. But the the person who make a madun, he is the one who writes. He just written the incident. As if he's a video camera, and the guardian and two of the witnesses, and he told them he document. But this one requires no marriage will be done in heading. So would not like for the woman to enter that kind of debate. If she did, the the madon he don't marry people is the guardian who give the hand of his representative and the acceptance from the groom. The one thing he have to document. But sometimes in some countries that the woman don't have a guardian, or he is refuses she will get married. Now, if they have a problem, then the sultan is the one who have. In that condition, no woman, but it should be so. It's not accepted when the madun is representing people. The madun he's just a person who documents, just like a real estate. They did not buy nor sell. They are just a title company that say this one I bought and I accepted. In general, we don't like the woman to enter that kind of because this costs. Well, our talk is very easy on the woman. Can we take more than the loan because the currency went halfway? We have mentioned before the to compensate for uh, the currency. If the currency is way down, and it could say to go back to the value, they have their own proofs. Like for example, before a year or two, the dollar now whomever gave 100, he will get it now 50, the value of it. When it goes that, it happens in so many areas. So under laws, it has to be given back with its equal, unless the currency is. There is a decision from Amja. We have mentioned it several times in our if Sheikh Rah, yeah, what do you do to stop the salat? So do we repeat the prayers? We're not talking about leaving the prayers, but what could be. Allah will say, look to my servant. See if you have anything from Tatawa. If he did, then you take. But the person who leaves the prayers intentionally, we tell him he will uh, he need to pray it. Like Sallallahu said, pray it whenever you do. No kafar quote except that. And some said if he intended to leave it, then it should not be cut. Just increase the nafila. Um, can you speak FaceTime with no hijab with the store? Yes. This is one of the subjects of the Amja this year. And saying that it's increase the calls. Allahu Alam, but this is strange. I think this is something that fabricated because this one has no foundation whatsoever. Just the illusions. This is from the things that are harm. Can the woman, can she shake the hand of the husband of her mother? Also the mahram. So he can to hold hands and to kiss her head. There's no doubt the woman should be from the mahram. Like nobody could say that if the woman is not in her uh, in the same house with her, no, it doesn't matter where she's still forbidden. What is the rule about eat imported meat like from United States? We live in Japan. Anyway, my brother, don't ask me of the meat in Japan. I have no knowledge about it. The 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 bread meat, we have a decision. It goes around. Why? They said because the old poetry, they what they go from voltage is very minor to kill. It just shocks. But what the animals go, This is something different. In summary, there is nothing wrong with eating what is exported from the United States, chicken and turkey and others, and to be careful with the meat, beef and lamb. With the whatever is the hate, and there could be the need for it could be changed. If this is the only place, it's okay. And so maybe the best thing, it's not disliked. Is there a law on the inflation? The to put a value, no. Some said one third. Some said it's one third. Some said it's one third. Some people say go back to what's the tradition. The example you given is very clear that it works on Allah Alam. Another question from Russia. Built next to the old masjid, a very big masjid. From its start, the other one, small one, is closed. And some people suggested that it will be given to the imam, so it will be a house for him. And the rest, they did not make waqf as a special ownership. Can you use that kind of example? It's very clear, I hope. We say, and Allah is our guardian, the imam should not benefit from the masjid to take him from waqf. It stays as waqf, and the imam can benefit from it as long as he lives, until there is a replacement, a house. Then another imam can take. So that house, it's waqf, like the sofa in the masjid. It's a house for those who don't have a house. If he got married, he'll leave out of it. So that place will be specified for those who have no houses. Another question about selling the beauty issues and how you're helping on something that is a sin. This is something of jihad scholars, they have different opinions. The first one, these kind of merchandise that is not forbidden by sales is not big or alcohol. So there's nothing about forbidden it. So we're looking at the person who's using it. There's allowance and that's not something not allowed. So you stay neutral with this. This is just like the computer and the phone and what you could do in different in good and bad. With that, and you find these places in Mecca and Medina. The second question, that it is for whatever is the other opinion, that it is for what is more, what is known that it's used for evil, and you allow what things are in good, or whatever is equal for two people, to help people on what is sin or aggression is the intentional one. and the dislike could be taken out with the need. And you have to look at what that merchant could give an advice of what he sell from it to be lenient when he is advising. The other one is the prayer in the areas that is required for the prayer, like the ones that facing the Kaaba. Is it like 100,000, like the one who prays in the masjid? There's two different opinions in Saudi Arabia, but we say Mecca is all haram, meaning haram. Not Allah has forbidden Mecca. It's not allowed for anyone before or after. It was one time of zone where you don't you don't do that except for the Ma'arif. The dispute is the whole Mecca is only 100,000, only the masjid. Some who said it's only the Masjid Haram. What's the proof? They said if someone made another that he will i'tikaf in the Masjid Haram, can he go to any masjid and he stay in Mecca? No. You made the nazar in Masjid Haram, then you do in Masjid Haram. You will not fulfill the nazar except for wherever you put yourself obligated to. And it's 100,000 for in Masjid Haram and 1,000 in the Masjid of Rasul Sallam. And he put the area. He said this masjid. He made it clear. Some people said no, it's for the whole haram because Mecca is all haram. And they used to Allah saying, praise is the one who has took his servant at night from the Masjid Haram and to a Masjid Al-Aqsa that we have placed around it. So it was from the Hana. So that shows that it is all over Mecca. But it is not to make sure you pray in the masjid itself and use every possible to come in and have a special status with each prayer and find a place. Sometimes you stand far away and you walk a long time. That's waste of the traffic. They're not equal, whoever does that and those who make more prayers in the masjid. And they are both, Allah has promised goodness. So when I collect money for Hajj over 3 years, is there money, zakat on the money I collect? The answer, yes. If that money is still under your possession and it has the time and the minimum, then it is required because of the zakah, which is the year long plus the minimum. Now, if the tourist area they already gone into, so they don't own it anymore. The last question with the rule about the prayer in Masjid al-Dirar. What is the rule for those who pray in it? The prayer, it came in the book of Allah. Those who have taken that masjid as place to spy and to separate between the believers and to give it an eye for those who fight Allah and they swear that they wanted the goodness, and Allah bear witness they are the lion, do not stand in it ever. Masjid that is served on piety, it is better. There's people who like to purify themselves, and Allah like those who purify themselves. You look at what about dinar. So some of this somewhere in the 70s of last year, there's an area of takfir from their principles to rule on everybody that it is places of darar, meaning, and they forbidden people to make Jum'ah and Jama'at, and they refuse to allow people from being in Jum'ah, and they use these are for spying. Allah has been, and Allah is truthful. Allah said, "Don't stay in it ever." But they talk about the masjid itself. That was built whenever it was to separate the believers and to give an eye to those who fought Allah and His Messenger before. I'll put a story for Abu Amr Rahib, and he's known as Abu Amr al-Fasiq. He became a Christian, and then after the battle of Badr, he went to Mecca to entice the leaders to fight the Prophet ﷺ. And he has made so many fights against Islam and Muslims. But then he went to Rome to get the king of Rome against Islam and Muslimin. He promised him, and he said, "I will send you an army that you destroyed in the beginning." And then he said, "Give me something to spy. I want to receive all the areas from Rome." And after that, they agreed he will use that place as a. So they wanted to build a masjid to, instead of, he does it so he could compete with Quba. And it is also an area for those who fight Allah and the Masjid. He received his books and media connections, and his books are going to them. Allah told his Prophet, he sent to that masjid, who destroyed it and burned it. And Allah said, "Do not say that's the masjid, but don't use that rule on all the masjid of the Muslims." So the rule does not change around. So we say Allah is truthful. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.